First of all, I should say to everybody watching that Lissa is the founder of Wealth for Women of Color, the Net podcast, which is about a year old, I think. And you also received a grant for the Hello Money Bootcamp a couple of years ago. I'd love to hear about what you did just to start off, and then we're going to jump off from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I worked at Google for 11 years. And for those who don't know, Google owns YouTube, who just celebrated their 20th birthday yesterday. So YouTube's been around for a while now. And the way that I actually got into working at Google and YouTube was I went on a whim, applied for some jobs, and got hired as an administrative assistant. And then over the years there, I moved into roles with more responsibility. My last role before I left was business operations and business strategy, specifically for a team called YouTube Originals. So that was a fun job while it lasted. And then in the midst of that, towards the end of my career, I was looking for something new, which is what ended up leading me to personal finance.
So why personal finance at that point? What brought you to that?
I think most personal finance creators, it came from my own need to learn personal finance in my life. My parents were immigrants from the Philippines. Their version of financial literacy was work hard and earn money and keep doing that until you retire, which I think instilled like a work ethic in me that enabled me to get to where I am. I never learned how to build wealth and actually how to feel financially secure. So I actually didn't expect to become a personal finance creator. I just started posting videos like a lot of people do. And then they started gaining some traction. So I wouldn't change it, but I had no plans to be where I am today, but I love it.
Were there any content creators that you really liked at that period, or authors, or who were you reading or watching?
The first book I read was one of the first books I read was Broke Millennial, Aaron Lowry, Tiffany Alice, Budgetnista, some of the more OGs. When I was working at Google, I made a lot of friends and built my network of folks in the entertainment industries, digital content industries, and someone I became really good friends with ended up used to work as an assistant for a talent agent at one of the big talent agencies, ICM, based here in Los Angeles. And then she eventually left to start her own talent agency firm where she represents currently a bunch of big YouTubers and Instagrammers and content creators, mostly in the lifestyle field. When I got that offer for the bigger deal, she said, "Hey, if you want, we'll sign you on as a client."
How would other influencers go about making those connections?
This is what I tell people across the board, and I had never historically been good at it, but reach out to people on LinkedIn. I also love the personal finance content creator community. It's a very niche community, but everyone in it that I've met is so amazing. I feel like you can dig in to see who represents certain creators if you just go to their about page on YouTube or check out their profiles to see who their contact email is. And that's one way to reach out to management agencies or talent agencies to see, hey, what's the criteria? Like, when would you guys think about signing a client? Like, how big do I have to be able to secure management? Obviously, they get something out of it too. They get a percentage of your deals, but I like having it because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a business person. I don't feel comfortable negotiating my own deals. So it's nice having a team.
Tell me about how specifically Wealth for Women of Color came about and what is a mission for that.
So when I started creating content around personal finance, my brand before Wealth for Women of Color was called Shit They Don't Teach You in School. And I didn't get far with it. And I think it's because I didn't have a good focus. So I decided, let me create a finance specific brand. When I was trying to come up with who I wanted to serve, it was clear that I wanted to serve people like me, women for one. And then I landed on like women of color just because I understand my experience and I can empathize with the experience of a lot of other women of color. And so initially, both on TikTok and YouTube, which are my bigger platforms, upon starting both of those platforms, I'm being served to everyone, men, right? Non people of color, white people on both platforms got a lot of not so nice comments in growing the brand. People like, what about me? Oh, why do you always have to make it about color? And I found myself always having to repeat over and over again what the real mission was, right? Is to make a group who I always felt has not been included to feel included. And that's the goal. The goal is not to, exclude white men from here. That's just not the case. I think there have been times where I've received comments like, why does this always have to be about color? What I found is when I respond to some people with respect, with courtesy, even if I didn't like their comment or their perspective, most of the times they come back saying, hey, okay, I get your perspective, but I just don't see it that way. You know what? I would say I get comments every day where people are thankful and grateful. And I think that is the fuel that keeps me going. And I'm sure same with other creators. I know a lot of times like creators are like, don't read the comments, right? You're just going to go down a rabbit hole. You're going to feel like shit after. You're not going to feel great. I read all the comments still. And yeah, there's some ones that aren't going to make me feel good, but it's all the other ones and the majority of them that do feel good. And to me, it's as simple as the comments I get that are like, I'm so glad I found you. I never heard about this before. It's something like building an emergency fund that now that we're in the finance space is so automatic. When I still come across people who are like, I never heard of that before. Tell me more. I see my content, like my free content, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, as my beginner level content. So no matter like if it's a new person finding me, they'll be able to learn something if they've never learned finance in the past. This is free knowledge. And then if you want to take it a step further, all right, you can work with me as financial coaching or financial planning or other products that I have.
But I would love to talk about your monetization now, because it's great that you want to offer the free content. What's your plan for probably the next few years as you go into that?
So currently my main streams of revenue are brand partnerships and YouTube AdSense from the viewership I get on YouTube. I would say it's not enough to support like the lifestyle that I want. Luckily, I got married at the same time. I got another income in my household to help me while I build. I'm still toying around with my plan. So the next thing I have coming out is my Hello Money Bootcamp, which I ran as a live workshop last year. Longer term, I've not quite figured it out. The way that I'm seeing my YouTube grow, I could probably just do YouTube full time and eventually let that pay the bills. I don't like the idea of relying on one source. We as finance creators like wanting to diversify. I could see that as more of the short term next few years play.
You said you see YouTube as the possible medium for the next few years for you to earn some money. What are you doing to optimize for that?
I've been posting one video a week consistently for a year and a half straight without a gap and saw growth on my channel. And so I've, in a sense, have gone all in on YouTube. I still have bits and pieces. I'm also biased to think that YouTube's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's the second largest search engine on the planet next to Google. And who owns YouTube? YouTube's monetization is the only platform that I know that has its own economy, like real, true creator economy through the monetization. I actually just heard another finance creator friend say that he did some program on Instagram recently and it was laughable. Like he got paid literally cents from the program. I don't know what it was. Whereas on YouTube, if you could build a solid following and get decent watch time, the YouTube for finance content pays out pretty high like CPMs compared to other areas like makeup, fashion, and things like that, where there's a lot of products perform well too, but like business and finance, because there's so many financial companies who want to advertise on YouTube.
So you said that you looked at your analytics and made some decisions about content. Can you give us an example of something that you saw and then how you made the decision to branch off?
Yeah. Something I did was I looked at my analytics to see what content had relatively higher watch time, view duration. meaning a person clicks into your video and they're watching a lot of the video, most of the video, because that tells you that your content is good, right? The actual content, the video itself is good. I was looking for videos that had high view duration, but low click-through rate, low CTR. Because what that tells me is that my title and thumbnail might not be great. It's like people are seeing the thumbnail and the title on their YouTube homepage, but not clicking it. But for those who do end up clicking it, they're watching the whole video, which means the content is good. So a couple of things that I try when I catch videos like that is, one, I try to change the title or the thumbnail, because you can always do that after the fact. Or I take the transcript of that video, make some changes, make some tweaks because the content is good, and then re-record a new video with a new title, new thumbnail, new video, maybe slightly different. If it's like a list of 8 tips, maybe I make it 12 tips. I just make some tweak, and it makes it so easy to just like create more content because you already have it there. It's just making a new video. So that's one example of how I would use analytics.
I love that. You do have the content and you're just rearranging a little bit and shifting a few things around and producing new content based on that. And there's nothing wrong with that because people are mostly finding the content from their homepage or searching. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That sounds like a great strategy to me.
There's also the opposite too. So there's some videos that I have a high click-through rate. So the thumbnail and title are great, but they're dropping off. The view duration is shorter. Like somewhere I lose them. And so I'll go back and see, all right, how long was my intro on that? Because I tend to like blabber on a lot when I talk. And so I'm like, oh, you know what? It's because I didn't get to the content of the video until the 2-minute mark. When the other videos where, let's say I have a list of 10 tips, within the first 30 seconds, I'm like, all right, let's jump to that first tip. The retention is better. So if I've come across a video of mine that did well in terms of click through, like people clicked the thumbnail, but didn't stay to watch through, then I'll actually throw that script in ChatGPT and say, hey, give me a new version where I get to the point faster. Like I get to the meat of the video faster. And then I'll just re-record a new video and then see how that does. And so those are just different ways to like, it's not even repurposing content. In a sense it is. It just makes your process more efficient. And to me, it's one big experiment. Use your data, keep posting. And if there are flops at best, that flop is going to give you information about what to do next or what not to do next.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you use YouTube Shorts at all?
I struggle. I currently don't. I have a theory, and it could be a false theory. I have a theory that the people who watch short form content on YouTube are a different audience than the people who are willing to watch your long form content. I'm sure there's some overlap. I think I have a fear that if I create shorts and they start to go viral and people subscribe through that I'll continue to post these longer form videos. My videos are typically in like the 20-minute range, 20 minutes or more. They might not watch those videos, which at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt your channel because your channel is still going to find those organic audience members who are going to watch all the stuff. I just feel like it's not part of my strategy right now to grow through shorts, partially because the effort, and also I have a perspective that it might be a different audience than who I'm trying to actually reach. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. If there's one piece of advice that you could give to content creator who is exploring YouTube and the revenue potentials there, what would be your advice?
Post the content. Something I did in my past and that I've seen others do is hesitate to post and then stop because something didn't perform well or they just can't stick to a rhythm. And it wasn't until I forced myself to post weekly. I have very cringeworthy videos up there. Until I posted weekly, I could not have enough data to look at to see what was working and not working. Because if you only have a few videos up, you're not going to be able to see the data. So just keep posting. But you can post 100 videos until you figure out the formula. But in order to get that data, you have to post. So I'm all for YouTube. If anyone wants to talk to me about YouTube, like definitely message me too. Love the platform. Like I said, I worked there for 11 years, but now I'm a YouTuber, which is weird.